Soldiers of the Indian Army have been killed in action, while 3 others sustained close to fatal injuries after terrorists ambushed 2 army vehicles in the Poonch region of Jammu and Kashmir. And this happened on Thursday. The bodies of 2 of the killed soldiers were mutilated by the heavily armed terrorists, and the encounter in the area is still underway. The Indian Army has been conducting an operation in and around the area since Wednesday night. The vehicles that were carrying soldiers to the site of an overnight cordon and search operation came under attack during late afternoon on Thursday. As per the Army, the soldiers and terrorists got into a gunfight post the ambush. A senior defense spokesperson has revealed that the search operation and mobilization of personnel came over a hard intelligence report about the presence of terrorists in the Dera Ki Gali area in the Rajouri district. Following the incident, ambulances and reinforcement from 48 and 43 Rashtriya Rifles were sent to the site. As per sources, a team of special forces and Huron UAVs were also deployed for the operation. The area of the Wele Dera Ki Gali is a densely forested stretch located at the borders of Rajouri and Poonch districts. The region has been a confrontational sector between terrorists and the Indian Army for years now. However, the situation in the sector was largely stable from 2003 to 2021, nearly for about 18 years. But in the last 2 years itself, at least 35 army personnel have been killed in action in encounters or close combat in Rajouri and Poonch districts. Of the 35, 19 soldiers were killed within the last 8 months. And in April to May this year, 10 soldiers were killed in twin attacks in the Rajouri-Poonch area. All right, we're now being joined by our correspondent Idris Loan, who's joining us over the phone line. Idris, we spoke earlier in the day as well on this. The operation is still on. I wanted to understand from you if there is a latest development, and also talk to us about this particular region. There is Rajouri-Poonch district region and the kind of encounters that have happened here.
Well, Shivam, the operation still continues. It's a massive search operation that is being carried out by the Indian Army in the jungles of the Poonch Rajouri area. And they had inputs already 2 days ago about the presence of these militants in the area. And after which this operation was started, the Indian Army was bringing in more deployment to basically nab the militants who are holed up right now in the forest area. And during that, yesterday we saw that there was an ambush that started in the same area by the same militants of the Indian Army had the information about. And 4 Indian Army soldiers were killed, while 3 are being treated at the hospital. We've seen in the previous times also that Poonch Rajouri is becoming a hotbed in terms of especially the foreign militants. We've seen a lot of infiltration bids becoming successful, and that is one of the worries for the security agencies in Jammu and Kashmir. We've seen a lot of foreign militants infiltrating, and then their first base of attack always becomes Rajouri and Poonch, as these areas are very close to the international border. And then, if at all they are successful, they move from Jammu region into the Kashmir Valley. But in the recent past, we have seen that most of the foreign militants are active in Rajouri Poonch district mostly, while as South Kashmir used to be a hotbed of active militants in Jammu and Kashmir. It seems that there is a shift in the policy of these militant outfits, and that is one of the reasons that we've seen many attacks, not only this year, but since last 2 years, we've been seeing these attacks happening in the area. It's an extremely dense, forested area, and that is why it becomes a little difficult for the security forces to also carry out operations without any collateral damage.
Idris, I just wanted to come to you with a couple of more things. Now, in the last 8 months, there has been a major spike in the number of incidents which have happened and the number of deaths which India has suffered as far as the Indian army personnel are concerned. Is there anything specific which has led to this surge in sudden infiltration of these terrorists, which are of course coming from across the border? That is one. And also, if you can give us a little better understanding of this terrain, this Poonch Rajouri district, how far is it from the border? How easy is it to infiltrate? And give us a little better understanding of the region there.
Well, looking at both the North Kashmir border as well as the international border in Jammu region, Jammu region is a little easier for these militants to infiltrate into the Kashmir territory because the Kashmir region is one, the mountain ranges are extremely steep, and then the whole 6 months of winter is covered with snow, so it becomes extremely difficult for the militant groups to cross over. But while as we talk about the international border in Jammu, there is no snow. And also, it's not extremely steep areas. However, the borders have been completely sealed by the Indian Army, both in Kashmir and as well as in Jammu. But there are sometimes infiltration bids that are successful. Although, if we talk about this year, the Indian Army as well as Jammu and Kashmir police had claimed earlier that they had successfully basically foiled all the infiltration bids that were happening from the North Kashmir border. But if we talk about Jammu region, they've not been as successful as they've been in the north of Kashmir. There have been infiltration bids that have taken, these infiltration bids that have taken place from the international border, which have been successful, and many foreign militants have managed to sneak in. And as I said, the first areas that touch the international border is Poonch Rajouri belt, and that is where they have started basically their first operations from. That is their first base of attack.
That is their first base.
Yes, and if at all they are successful in managing these attacks, then they also come from South Kashmir, Shupian, which is Dera Ki Gali, is a mountain range that they cross and come into the Kashmir territory. But mostly we have seen that most of these foreign militants were neutralized in Rajouri and Poonch areas only, but they also managed the collateral damage that army had to basically lose many soldiers in these attacks.
There has been collateral damage, no doubt, but these terrorists will be neutralized at the earliest, as they have been in the past. The operation is very much ongoing. Idris Lone, thank you so much for joining in, and we will be in touch to get further updates from you.